It's 5:30 p.m. and Phil is stuck in a meeting which should have already ended. He clicks his pen. He unclicks it again. He barely tries to conceal the impatience in his cough. The windows here don't open. The sun is hung at such an angle so that no matter where you sit, you have to shield your eyes from the glare. This room, which normally smells of air conditioning and burnt dust of an overheating overhead projector, today smells disconcertingly organic. Sweat, coffee breath, a brief but truly shocking whiff, an unacknowledged fart. Outside there's London. Every now and then it sounds, its traffic, its birdsong, its shouts puncture the ambient din of the office. The rumbling air vents, the sallow PCs growling on their desks, a high pitched beep which happens at the same time every week and for which no one has any explanation. Everyone is on their phones. Phil receives a series of texts in succession. His housemate, Debs, is planning her outfit for the party tomorrow and wants to know if her new dress makes her look like Theresa May. Alan, Phil's manager, has been practicing gratitude. To thank the team for his work, he scattered fun-sized packets of Haribo across the table at the start of the meeting. Sweeties, he announced in the manner of a child's entertainer, or indeed in the manner of an actual child. The empty wrappers, sugar crashes, and ceaseless drones of conversation recalled the cranky close of a sixth birthday party waiting to be taken home by parents who won't stop conversing with other adults. No one has been paid for their time since 5 p.m. Phil daydreams. Specifically, he daydreams about Keith, the book he plans to give him this weekend, and the inscription he plans to write in the book. Keith, he'll write, "Before I met you, I never knew that the earth beneath London was made out of clay. One of many deep things I learned from you." He turns the phrase over in his mind, omitting a word here or there. Keith, he'll write, "Before I met you, I hadn't known that the earth beneath London was made out of clay. It's not the only deep thing I've learned about you from you." The book is about geology, specifically the geology of London. The minerals in the soil, the plants that thrive, the taste of the tap water, the tough clay that Keith turns over in his allotment on Sunday mornings while Phil struggles with a strimmer. Sometimes, especially now that it's summer, Keith takes off his shirt while he works and sweat dribbles down his back towards the waistband of his pants. Sometimes he kisses Phil like that, half naked, mucky, drenched in sweat, and Jacinta, the old woman in the neighborhood allotment, whistles and says, "Good on ya, lads," and jokes about how it's been too long since she herself had a good roll around the grass. Then they usually listen to Jacinta's funny but long-winded anecdotes about the disputes that plague the allotment committee while Phil dreams of getting Keith to himself. Phil bought the book because Keith is interested in the soil and the trees and the bird and the buildings of London. Really, that's what he's referring to when he says deep things. Time and again, Keith has shared a morsel of knowledge about the city, and this morsel of knowledge has been enough to make the city seem strange and entirely new. He senses a shift in the room. Alan is no longer the person speaking. He tunes back into the conversation. It seems like each member of the team has been asked to describe an event that happened this week, which they are proud of. It's nearly 6 p.m. now, an hour after meeting which was supposed to finish. Everyone outlines some difficult task they completed, some breakthrough in personal or professional development. Phil tunes back out. Of course, when he says deep things, he's referring to deep things of an emotional nature too, like caring and being cared for, feeling kinship, taking pleasure from food and landscapes, and having a body that dances, a body with nerve endings and erogenous zones. And he exposes, too, that one of the deep things he's referring to is his own asshole. Not explicitly as such, but if Keith were to interpret it on that level, he certainly wouldn't be against it. And while Keith has only fucked Phil, on one prior occasion there was an experience so explosive that it allowed Phil a brief but truly life changing glimpse into just how much pleasure a human body can feel. Phil. Phil Jones. Alan is speaking to him. Everyone is glaring. It's your turn, Phil. Yes, it is. It's to say what you're proud of. Of course, yes. Phil is so checked out of the room that he's barely conscious of what he says at all. He says, I'm proud of the way the team gelled this week. Our channels of communication felt open. I think we're finally ready to be vulnerable. Alan nods profoundly as if Phil were a contestant on a TV talent show who has just revealed a tragic backstory, and Phil reaches for his phone to make note of a mental edit he's made to the book inscription. This is where he notices a message from Maggie. Big news? That seems like a foreboding thing to say. Maggie and Phil have spoken every day since they were kids. They're so accustomed to each other, dependent really, that they begin to feel unlike themselves when they've been out of touch for too long. He replies, Yeah, I'm free tomorrow, even though that is not true and means he'll have to postpone the plans with his mother until late in the afternoon. He has a big weekend ahead. Keith after work, Maggie in the morning, his mom in the afternoon, the party tomorrow night. Any second now the meeting will finish and the hottest weekend of the year will burst into being. In one brief movement, he'll race to his desk, shut down his PC, and sprint, panting towards the sun. Then, only then, will his real life begin. Rosaline climbs into the driving seat after the work. She is fastening her seatbelt with her phone pings with a message from Phil. Hi, Mom. Something came up tomorrow. Can we do 2 p.m. instead of 12? Thanks. She mutters, For Christ's sake, feeling a brief but potent flare of guilt at having taken the Lord's name in vain, even though she had not had a drop of faith in the Lord or his name since she left Ireland at 18 years old. She blows through her lips. She's always guilty these days. Her sense of guilt has taken on a new lease of life since she sat in the doctor's office last week and he told her about the lumps in her breasts and armpits and back. A renewed interest in the Lord, too. She replies, tells him it's fine, feeling guilty at having felt it wouldn't be. It's been 10 days since her diagnosis, 5 days since she tried to call Phil to tell him about it, and 3 days since she decided it would be better to meet him in person instead. He's only postponed by 2 hours, but he's hard to get hold of. Her youngest son, he postpones by 2 hours, then by 4, then several days and several weeks, and the doctors can't say for sure yet whether she's got several weeks or several years left. She was careless like that at one time, too. She used to spend every waking minute with Paul Duffy from number 47 until her mother threatened to give her sent away if she continued to go gallivanting with Pauline and her famously loose morals. She reverses from her parking spot and switches on the radio. It's 6 o'clock news. The whale in the Thames. An expert is being interviewed, a woman named Valerie, who says the whale is bewildered, injured, and unable to find its way back to the sea. The Thames, she says, is much, much shallower than the deep oceans and the northern bottlenose is used to swimming in. We're doing everything we can to support her, to console her, to gently guide her out of the river and back towards those deep oceans. But at this point, myself and my colleagues are extremely concerned for the whale's well-being. Rosaline gasps. That's terrible, she says aloud to no one. She imagines telling Pauline about this. The outskirts of Basildon whiz by outside. To a passerby, Rosaline's nondescript, a brown-haired woman, a careful driver, but on the inside all sorts of things are taking place. For example, the malignant growth of cancerous cells. For example, delight at the glass of wine and a pair of slippers that await her at home, and the displeasure at her work uniform, which feels almost unbearably stuffy. Every day she drags her arm through its sleeves, the bright red shirt, the dull blue cardigan. Every day she ties the sheer neckerchief around her neck, every day thinking the same thing, which is that it's ridiculous to have to get dressed up for this job. She works in a call center, and the customers don't see or care whether she wears a neckerchief or not. Every day she sits at a computer, one of the hundreds, in a room where posters promote the country's 4 key behaviors: empowerment, accountability, go the extra mile, and do the right thing. She takes calls from disgruntled customers who wish to cancel their TV, broadband, or phone services. Every day she says, "I'm sorry to hear that," or "let me be the first to apologize," or "what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop you on hold for a second, and if that's okay, I'll have a quick chat with my team lead on how to take this forward." Every day she's coaching session with her team lead, who says he believes in her, who says she has what it takes, who speaks as if she were Rocky about to enter the ring, not a middle-aged woman trying to convince an irate granddad in Cardiff that his quality of life will, in fact, be significantly reduced without access to Wedding Channel, The Murder Channel, or Sky Atlantic. She pulls into the driveway. Across the road from her house, Joanne Seymour, Ed's mum, sits on the pavement as usual. For as long as the Rosaline can remember, Joanne has dragged the contents of her living room, armchairs, rug, cabinet, the lot, onto the pavement every night, sits there like she owns the place. It used to drive Rosalind crazy. What was the point of having a house if you were going to live outside? What did Joan think she was? But she regrets having felt so bitterly towards her now. Joan's husband, who died this year, used to sit there with her. She still drags his chair out as if he were around to sit in it. Rosaline is worried for her, yes, but also she's tired. She thinks of saying hello, but instead makes a show of pretending not to see her. She hums tunelessly while digging through her handbag, but her guilt, still churning in her gut from taking the Lord's name in vain, gets the better of her. "Hiya, Joan," she calls out. "You all right?" Joanne grunts. "It's a lovely evening," continues Rosalind. "Would you like some company?" "Go on, then." Rosalind crosses the street, hearing a rising of the tarmac. Insects buzz in the balmy air. There's nowhere to sit here except for Peter's chair or the arm of Jones, both insensitive and overfamiliar in their own way. So Rosalind stands, unsure what to do with her hands. She puts them in her pockets, then behind her back. She gazes around for something to offer a comment on, and now, quite frantic, blurts out breathlessly, "I love your chair, Joan." "Are you going to sit down or not?" replies Joan without lifting her head. "Me? Oh no, I'm fine, thank you." "He's dead, you know." "Sorry?" "My husband. He's dead, so you can sit in his chair." Joanne lights a Marlboro Red. She gestures to Rosaline impatiently. "Sit down, will you? He's not here to sit in it." "All right," says Rosaline, sitting in his chair as if it were about to break. "I don't believe in ghosts, Rosaline. Don't believe in heaven. Peter's gone for good. I'm not precious about that. I'm not under any illusions. Don't care who sits in the chair." "Well, everyone grieves differently, don't they?" Joanne speaks slowly, languidly, stares in the distance the whole time. She says, "Men are always dying before their wives. Did you know that? Suicide, cancer, heart attacks, strokes. I've seen it in the papers.
daytime chat shows, journalists, talking heads. They say things like feminism has gone too far, the vote was good, but dead men are bad. And some bloody dietitian will say that a turn away from red meat is long overdue. They say to talk about your mental health. They say to check your testicles for tumors. They demonstrate how to do it with these educational, disembodied, baby blue plastic scrotums. All of a sudden, Joanne cackles at this detail before continuing. Of course it was lung cancer that caught Peter in the end. Asbestos. He hadn't even looked at a fag in decades. Rosaline looks around. She rubs her hand as if she's cold. Hey, how's your boy? How's that still going strong with Maggie? Joanne puffs on her fag. They're moving back to Basildon. They're not. She's pregnant. She's not, is she? Phil never told me that. Neither did Callum. She's 12 weeks now, only starting to tell people. That makes sense, I suppose. I'm looking forward to having them around. A little baby, too. That'll be nice for you. Phil's up in London and we barely see him, or Callum. Callum's got the wedding coming up, so I suppose we can't blame him, but those two boys, they never tell us anything. They barely even talk to Steve, and he won't talk to them either. Rosaline hesitates and digs up her nail into her hand before deciding to offer a joke. I swear to God, she says, I feel like an interpreter in this family. I feel like a switchboard operator. Joanne laughs. It was the same with Peter and Ed. I was always the middleman. I'm sure they were grateful for it. He's a good lad, Ed. A daft lad, but a good one. You're lucky. A breeze pulses through the palm tree, the first breeze of the day. I am, concedes Joan with a sigh that shakes her voice. Callum, Rosaline's eldest son and Ed's best friend, is getting married in 6 weeks. It's all Rosaline can think about. Although the cancer has dislodged it from the front of her brain, it's only done so partially. She pictures herself at the meal, standing up from her chair, clinking her knife against a wine glass. She'll clear her throat, calm her nerves, and smile serenely towards a room full of family and friends. Callum, she'll say, before I had you, I never knew how many creatures would live beneath the earth of one tiny back garden. She'll say it because it's true. As soon as he could walk, Callum would trapeze around the garden, digging for earthworms and centipedes and all manner of larvae. He'd place them in cupped palms of his hand, walk up to the back door gently so as to not disturb the sleeping creepy crawly, and he'd say, look at what I found. An expression of sheer wonder on his face. He was an adventurous child. He could even make the most mundane situations fantastical. He and his best friend Ed Seymour used to transform living rooms and kitchens into pirate ships and haunted shopping centers and tombs of ancient pharaohs. She was so proud of him then. He was a delight for her. Of course she loved both of her sons equally, but it can't be denied that Callum was the only one who had a drop of confidence as a child. When she told Callum about the cancer, he wanted to make it better. He said he'd pay for private health care. He wasn't going to let her languish on an NHS waiting list for the next 5 years. They'd get a second, third, fourth opinion. Also, he said, she'd need a new TV. Sick people needed to watch TV. They also needed cake. Would you like some cake right now? He'd said, because he could go and get it. Black Forest Gâteau, lemon drizzle, anything. How he'd planned to pay for private health care was beyond her. He had a job in recruitment, but it didn't pay that much. And she was happy with the TV she had. She tried to explain that she hadn't told Phil yet, so Callum needed to keep the news to himself for now, but he was so upset that she's not sure if he even heard her. That's why she needs to tell Phil sooner than later. If she doesn't, then someone else will get there first.